A very good afternoon, all of you. Hope everybody is there in front of your systems. Hope everybody is there in front of your systems or the mobile phones. So before we start off with today's session, we'll just look at our instructions. So you'll have your training from Monday to Saturday and from 2 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. मैं फिर से repeat कर रहा हूँ. You'll have your session from Monday to Saturday and from 2 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. And whatever the questions that you have it, you can put it in your respective Kaizala groups. I repeat everybody, your session will be there from Monday to Saturday and from 2 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. And whatever the questions that you have it, you can put it in your respective Kaizala group. आपका सेशन मंडे से लेकर सैटरडे तक होएगा, यानी 2 बजे से लेकर 3:30 बजे तक चलता रहेगा. और आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे वो अपने अपने कैसाला ग्रुप में पूछ सकते हो. और ध्यान दीजिएगा कि आप जो भी क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो वो सेशन के बाद और 5 बजे से पहले पूछ रहे हो. I repeat everybody, please ensure that you are asking your questions after the session and before 5 p.m. Wherever it is required, we'll give you some assignments and you're expected to complete your assignments and submit on time. सबसे ये निवेदन है कि आप अपने असाइनमेंट ऑन टाइम सबमिट करें एंड असाइनमेंट जहां पे जरूरत पड़ेगा हम लोग वहां पे आपको असाइनमेंट देंगे. And people who are not done with the registrations yet are requested to complete your registration from the link shown on the screen. People who haven't registered till now are requested to complete your registration from the link shown on the screen. जो लोग अभी तक अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कंप्लीट नहीं किए हैं वे लोग अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन स्क्रीन पे दिखाया गया लिंक यूज करके अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कंप्लीट करें. I repeat everybody, whoever haven't registered for the course are requested to complete your registration from the link shown on the screen. People to understand, we are going to do a certification called Microsoft Office Specialist Certification in the category of Excel. I repeat, we are going to do a certification called Microsoft Office Specialist in the category of Excel. And the exam number is 77-727. The exam number that we are going to do it is 77-727. हम लोग जो एग्जाम लिख रहे हैं वो एग्जाम का नाम है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस स्पेशलिस्ट और एक्सेल कैटेगरी में हम अपना एग्जाम लिखते हैं. हम लोग जो एग्जाम लिख रहे हैं वो एग्जाम का नाम है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस स्पेशलिस्ट MOS और जो कैटेगरी हम लोग लिख रहे हैं वो एक्सेल कैटेगरी का एग्जाम है और एग्जाम का नंबर है 77-727. एंड हम ये जो एग्जाम लिख रहे हैं वो एक्सेल कैटेगरी में होएगा माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से. whatever the exam that you are writing it will be in Excel category from Microsoft. Even though your exam is in Excel category of Microsoft, you will be trained on Excel, Word and PowerPoint. हमारा एग्जाम एक्सेल कैटेगरी में होएगा फिर भी आपका ट्रेनिंग एक्सेल वर्ड और पावरपॉइंट तीनों चीजों में आपका ट्रेनिंग होगा. I repeat everybody, even though your exam is in Excel, you are trained on Excel, Word and PowerPoint. आपका एग्जाम एक्सेल में होएगा फिर भी आपको ट्रेनिंग एक्सेल वर्ड और पावर पॉइंट में दिया जाएगा. पीपल हु कंप्लीट द सर्टिफिकेशन, जो लोग अपना सर्टिफिकेशन कंप्लीट करेंगे यानी अपना एग्जाम क्लियर होंगे उनको एक सर्टिफिकेट और बैज माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से मिलेगा. People who complete the certification will be awarded with a certificate and badge from Microsoft. These certificates and badge from Microsoft will validate your professional knowledge and will also help you in getting better job opportunities. I repeat, the certificate and the badge which is being awarded after your certification will stand as a proof for your professional knowledge and will improve your job opportunities because of this. मैं फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, आप जब अपना एग्जाम कंप्लीट करोगे तो आपको माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से माइक्रोसॉफ्ट बैज और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा जो आपका प्रोफेशनल स्टैंडर्ड का प्रूफ रहेगा और आपके जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज बढ़ाएंगे. और ये एग्जाम क्लियर करने के लिए आपको मिनिमम 70% स्कोर करना होगा। ये एग्जाम आपको क्लियर करने के लिए आपको 70% मिनिमम स्कोर करना होगा। टू क्लियर दिस पर्टिकुलर सर्टिफिकेशन यू आर सपोज टू स्कोर ए मिनिमम ऑफ 70%, which means for 1000 marks you are supposed to score a minimum of 700 marks। आपको 1000 marks के लिए मिनिमम आपको 700 आना चाहिए ताकि आप ये एग्जाम क्लियर कर पाए। This is a course content that we are showing it, which is talking about the 5 modules in which your questions would appear in your exam। ये हमारा 5 मॉड्यूल है जिसमें से आपको क्वेश्चन आएंगे आपके एग्जाम पे। एंड यहाँ पे जो परसेंटेज दिखाया जा रहा है वो परसेंटेज क्वेश्चंस का वेटेज है हर एक मॉड्यूल का। Whatever the percentage that is shown here is a percentage of questions that appear in your exam for each of the modules। Now we look at the first module has more weightage than the other modules, so please concentrate more on the first module। हम अगर यहाँ पे देखते हैं तो हमारे फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल में पहला मॉड्यूल में ज़्यादा परसेंटेज क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, तो फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे दीजिएगा। और फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल में हम लोग वर्कबुक्स कैसा क्रिएट करते हैं, वर्कशीट कैसा क्रिएट करते हैं, उसका स्टाइलिंग कैसा करते हैं, ये सब चीज़ों ने ऐसी चीज़ हमें आपका फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल में रहेंगे और हम लोगों ने सीख लिया है। So we have been learning about your creating workbooks, worksheets and managing all of them. We have learned it in the first module, and which is very important for our certification exam. And the second module that we have been looking at was managing the data cells and their ranges, that is putting the data into the Excel sheet from multiple sources and trying to manage them is what we have it in your manage data cells and your ranges. And then we have been looking at the third one, that is working on tables, that is creating a table and then styling it, filtering it, working on tables to convert them to range and range into tables। all that we have been looking at in creation of tables or create tables module। हम अपने create tables module में एक टेबल कैसा बनाते हैं, टेबल का स्टाइलिंग कैसा करते हैं, उसको सॉर्ट कैसा करते हैं, टेबल से रेंज कैसा बनाते हैं, रेंज से टेबल कैसा बनाते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें हम लोगों ने टेबल्स मॉड्यूल में देखी है। इसी तरह हम लोगों ने कई फॉर्मूलेस एंड फंक्शंस भी देखी है। कई तरह के फॉर्मूलेस लाइक लॉजिकल, मैथमेटिकल, ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिकल एंड मेनी अदर लुकअप फंक्शंस, रेफरेंसेस, कई तरह के फंक्शंस और फॉर्मूलेस हम लोगों ने कल तक देखी है। सो हम लोगों ने कई तरह के एग्जाम्पल्स, कई तरह के फॉर्मूलेस एंड फंक्शंस हम लोग कल के क्लास में देख रहे थे। अभी हम लोग आज के क्लास में नया मॉड्यूल पे चले जाते हैं जहाँ पे हम लोग अपना क्रिएट चार्ट्स एंड ऑब्जेक्ट्स देखते हैं। So today we'll get into the create charts and objects module where we try to understand what are the charts that we have it and how to use them। हम आज के क्लास में अपना क्रिएट चार्ट्स मॉड्यूल देखते हैं जिसमें हम लोग चार्ट्स कैसे बनाते हैं, उसका फॉर्मेट कैसा होता है, ये सब चीज़ हम लोग आज के क्लास में देखते हैं। हम अपने आज की क्लास में जाने के लिए, अपना चार्ट्स क्रिएट करने के लिए हम अपना एक्सेल पे चले जाते हैं। We'll get into our Excel in order to understand about your charts। We open up a fresh workbook and in that you have a sheet 1 as a fresh blank sheet। हम अपने नया वर्कशीट खोल लेते हैं, उसमें हमारा अपना एक शीट 1 एम्प्टी शीट रहेगा जिसमें हम अपना कोड लिख अपना चार्ट्स बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं। We'll try to create our charts in our sheet 1। Now we just go ahead and put it serial number, name, and then marks in subject 1, say I'll put it as English, I'll put it as Hindi, I'll put it as maths, I'll put it as science and I'll put it as social। सो आज के हमारे चार्ट्स बनाने के लिए हम लोग कुछ डेटा ले लेते हैं, ये डेटा पे आज के लिए हम लोग काम करते हैं। सो वील ट्राई टू क्रिएट our own data over here। So we'll try to put some data over here and we'll try to work on it। आज के चार्ट्स बनाने के लिए हम लोग यहाँ पे हम अपना डेटा बना लेते हैं और ये डेटा पे हम लोग अपना वर्क करना चालू कर लेते हैं। Right, so we will now try to go ahead and put it the serial number, that is we will wanted to have again roll number of the students instead of serial number, we'll put it as roll number। हम अपना roll number यहाँ पे रख लेते हैं and I'll make them as titles by making it as bold and I'll put it across center. उसको मैं सेंटर कर दूंगा और बोल्ड भी कर दूंगा ताकि वो हेडिंग की तरह दिख जाए। और यहाँ पे मैं अपना 501 अपना रोल नंबर दूंगा। So and I'll try to have 10 values of it. So we'll have 10 values of roll numbers. So we have starting from 501 to 510 as the roll numbers of the students, and we would try to have some names of the students too. Say we'll put it as John 1, and then we'll try to pull this up. So we have got John 1 to John 10 as 10 students, and we wanted to have multiple marks for all of them. So let me just put some data: 70, 80, 60, 50, and then 90. And then here, let me just put it 75, 85, 65, 55, and 95. Let me also have some value here. Say 95, say 65, 45, then 85, then 65 again. So I'll also have some more data for the next John 4 student. So for the John 4 students, say I'll put it as 35, then 73, 63, 53, and then 93. And then I'll put it as for uh, John 5, let me put it as 54, 74, 94, 44, and then 34. And we would like to have another details for John 6. John 6 record also we will try to add some values: 67, 77, 97, then 57, and then 47. And then here we will put it as 88 and 48, then 38, then 98 and 78. And for the John 8 student we will put it as 92, then 62, 52, and then 82, and then 67. Now we'll have John 9 details also. For the John 9 details, we'll put it as 81, 91, 41, 61, and then 51. And then we'll have say 96, 86, 76, 66, and 56. So this is how I've got some data for all my 10 students. मेरे अपना 10 students के लिए मैंने अपना डेटा डाल लिया है। अभी इसको जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन देना चाहते हैं, वॉट एवर द रिप्रेजेंटेशन दैट आई वांटेड फॉर दिस डेटा, आई वांटेड टू पुट इट इन माय chart. In order to put it into my chart, let me just redefine it again. Let me just put it exactly at the center. This is how I've got my data which is available. अभी मेरा data यहाँ मेरे मेरे पास है. I've got my data over here. So in this data that I have it, I wanted to ensure that this data is represented in the form of charts. When you wanted to put it in the form of charts, you can select the data that you wanted to represent, and once you get into your insert, then you have a block called charts. Once you click on it, then it will talk about, first you need to select the cells that you wanted to create your what we call it as your marks or any of the data that you need to select it. आपको अपना data select करना होगा ताकि अपना charts आप बना सकें. So I will select the data of the students. I will exclude my roll number, and then I'll just go to my charts. Once I go to my charts, I can give my own representation, whichever the kind of chart that I want. These are the recommended charts that we have it. We have the multiple kinds of recommended charts which are by default given by your MS Office, which will suggest you for this kind of data, the data that you have. I've got different kind of representation. Say this can be represented like your chart 1, your chart 2 like line chart. You've got multiple ways of representing your items. Now if you just go back and look at, there is something called all charts where you can pick up multiple kinds of charts. We will now look at one after the other. एक एक करके हम लोग अपना चार्ट देखते हैं. So पहले हम लोग अपना कॉलम चार्ट देखते हैं. So we will try to select our column chart. In the column chart, we have got first one something called clustered column. Once you select on this and click on OK, then you will be created with a clustered column. Now you look at the clustered column, it says John 1, John 2, John 3 and so on till John 10 on a scale of 0 to 100. If you want to limit it, you can also limit it. See, I've got a chart that is created. Now this chart which has my x-axis and the y-axis and the data. So if you could look at, I've got my x-axis and y-axis and the data that I wanted to create. But see here, the x-axis and the y-axis are completely different. Now the x-axis is your values that you have it, and the y-axis is talking about your marks. It is talking about different kinds of marks. And in each of the cluster, if you could look at, you have got all of these values. Now, Hindi, English, Math, Science, and Social are your clusters, a small cluster. Now, John has all the values. Similarly, your John 2 has all the values. Similarly, John 3 has all the values. यहाँ पे हमारा जो चार्ट दिख रहे हैं, असली में हमको क्या होना चाहिए? एक कॉलम बनना चाहिए x एक्सिस और एक कॉलम बनना चाहिए y एक्सिस. लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर देखते हैं तो हमारा पूरा जो जॉन और जो भी इंग्लिश हिंदी जो भी है वो हमारा एक्स एक्सिस में ही है. एंड जो हमारा लेफ्ट साइड पे जो डेटा है यानी जो वाई एक्सिस का जो डेटा है वो है हमारा मार्क्स का, कि मार्क्स कितने वैल्यू पे है, यानी 0 पे है, 20 पे है, 40 पे है, 60 पे है. इट इज शोइंग एज द वैल्यूज. Now, once we just go back and wanted to make the changes, so you can make the style changes, you can make your color changes too. So depending upon the color choice that you want, say you want a different color, you can represent the different colors. See, for each of them, you can have a different color. You can make it color or monochromatic depending upon your choice that you have. So whatever the option that you would like it, whatever the color options that you would like it, you can pick it up. And apart from that, you have got something called style, which will represent you in multiple styles. Say the style 1 is representing only the bars. The style 1 is representing only the bars. If you look at the style 2, is representing your bar, and at the same time it is also showing you the percentage. See, if you could look at, it is showing you here, that is once you select on this, see it is showing you 70, 80, 60, 50, 90 of John 1. If you look at 70, 80, 60, 50 and 90 of your John 1 is being listed out here. See, that's off. You can just go to your styles and you can apply your styles. You can apply your style to it, how you wanted to represent it. The same kind of styles are available here. Instead of clicking on this, you can just go ahead and select your choices here. So whatever we have it, all the choices are shown over here. If at all you wanted the normal one that we had earlier, you can switch back to that too. जो हमारा पहला चार्ट था उसी तरह हम अपना चार्ट को बना सकते हैं वापस, जो हम लोगों ने क्रिएट किया था. दिस इज हाउ वी हैड आवर चार्ट विच वी हैव क्रिएटेड. ये हमारा चार्ट था जो ग्रुप की तरह बना के मल्टी कलर था और यू डोंट हैव द नंबर्स ऑन इट. Similarly, you wanted to work on filtering. What is that you wanted to show? I wanted to show all of these values. Whatever you don't want, say I don't want maths marks, then I can remove maths marks. Then see, in all of them, you don't have the math mark being shown. Once you click on this, then the math mark gets added. So depending upon the choice that you want, depending upon the options that you wanted, how many of them that you want. So you wanted a series, is your Hindi, English, all of them are made as a category, sorry, made as a series. And within the series, you have got John 1, John 2, John 3 as your categories to you. So on and so forth, you have got your data which is being operated. Got it? So this is how you work with your name, with your data that is being listed out in your Excel sheet. जो डेटा हमारा Excel sheet में है उसको पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन देने के लिए हम लोग अपना चार्ट्स बनाते हैं. जब ये चार्ट्स बना रहे हैं तो आपको कौन कौन से चीजें ऐड करनी है. So you don't want John 1 to be represented, you take this off. You don't want John 10 also to be represented, you apply. Then see John 1 and John 2, John 10 are removed. And similarly, you don't want subject, any of the subjects. You can just go back and filter on that. Say I don't want social subject. I apply. The social subject is gone. So that's how whatever the data that you wanted to represent. Say if science teacher alone wants what is happening with all the students, then it is unnecessary that I show all the subject marks. अगर साइंस फैकल्टी साइंस टीचर अभी ये 10 स्टूडेंट्स का परफॉर्मेंस अगर प्रिंसिपल को एक्सप्लेन करना है तो साइंस टीचर को सोशल का मार्क्स कुछ रिप्रेजेंटेशन करने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा. You don't need the marks of other subjects. The science teacher needs only science marks. Similarly, social teacher needs only social marks. Now, according to that, you create what is that you wanted to represent. आपको क्या represent करना है वहां तक आप represent कर सकते हो. And similarly, I wanted to change the title of this. I'll keep all my subjects and all my students as it is and then apply. Then see, I've got all my student marks and all my subjects are also being shown up here. Now, I wanted to edit this chart name. I want to make this chart name as students performance. So this is how you can give your name of the title, or the chart title can be given by selecting it and changing it as students performance. This is how you can edit your chart. आप अपना चार्ट को ऐसा एडिट कर सकते हैं. सिमिलरली जब यहाँ पे प्लस पे क्लिक करते हैं तो वो एक्सिस भी बताएगा कौन सा एक्सिस कैसे यूज कर रहे हैं. What is that you are working on? Say I wanted to show my axis. Whatever I wanted to show, I take this axis. Then the axis is not shown. See whatever you have the axis like 120, all that is there. No. Once I click on it, the axis is not shown. It is not telling us what is the value, whether it is 20, 40, 60, 80 and 120 which have it. It is not being shown. In order to show it, once you put it as, you will get the axis. Similarly, you have got something called chart title. Once you remove this, then the chart title is removed, which means you don't have your performance. So student performance is not shown. Now if you wanted to update it, again you will have to update it as student performance. So this is how you have your title. Similarly, you wanted to have multiple features. Say I wanted data labels. So the data labels are all shown. Once I don't want data labels, the data labels are removed. Similarly, I want my data table also, which will represent my table and also the graphical image. If you want both of them, you can retain both of them. If you don't want your table, you can take this off. So that's how you can work with something called your table. And what is that you wanted to add with your table? With legend keys, that is whatever is primary that can be given. Similarly, you have got something called error bars. If there is any error that is left out, see there is a differentiation that is being left out, that is being shown with something called error bars. And similarly, your grid lines, the lines which are shown with the help of your what we call it as 120 ka jo line hai, the reference line is not shown because of something called grid lines. Grid lines will show me the reference of it. We will have a proper referencing to understand what is the marks of the students in each of the subject in order to give our ease of using it. ये जब चार्ट पढ़ते हैं तो हमको इजीली समझ में आना चाहिए कि no student has got more than 80 marks. Sorry, no student have got more than 100 marks. So which means the maximum mark that we have it is less than 100 only. So in order to get a rough statistics by looking at it immediately, ये grid lines हमको help करेगा. Similarly, I want the legend of it. See, once you look at it, once you have the legend, it will talk about what is that we are using it here. हमारा जो हमारा अपना legend यूज कर रहे हैं, which is talking about what is the color identification that we have it. And similarly we'll give the trend line also. Say we'll talk about the trend line of which of the subjects that you want. Say I want the trend line for English. Once I click on OK, see this is the trending line. Similarly, I want a different trending line for some other subject. Say I want it for Hindi. So Hindi का देखो trending line ऊपर से नीचे आया है. So depending upon the student values, the representation is being shown. That is depending upon the trending value. Say whatever the value that we wanted to have it. I want it for social. Say social 80 से लेके कम होते जा रहा है. So it is giving you the trend of it. Starting से end तक कैसे जा रहा है. How it is growing or how it is decreasing. So that's how you have got your chart elements. So this plus icon will talk about your all the chart elements, and this will talk about your styling, and this will talk about the third one will talk about your data, how you wanted to have your data. See, this is how I've got my values and I've got my names. Now what is that I'm picking it up? I've got my row 2, which is my Hindi, English and all of it, and then I'm taking up my column C as my axis. So what are the names that I'm putting it? So this is how I'm considering my data over here. So this is how we have created something called a chart, which is with respect to columns. Now I'll delete this. Now I'll select the same data again. Now I'll go to insert in the charts. If at all I just go back here in all charts, in columns you have got the first one as your clustered charts. Now we'll go to the second one called stacked column. Once you select on this and click on OK, now see you have a stacked column, which means your John's marks are kept over here. See, the first value of your John is 70, and then second value of your John is 80. So if you could look at it is 70, 80, 60, 50 and 90. So all of those values are kept here. Say the total value, if you could look at the total value of John 1, if you could look at it is 350. Now see, it is exactly giving you at 350. So above 50. So that's how it will stack the values one after the other. Stacking is nothing but you pile up. You put one on the other. So ऐसा करते हुए हम एक एक करते हुए अपना पूरा values को add कर लेते हैं. So once you look at here, the chart will have the same functionalities. You can add the different items, and then I'm sorry, you can have the different styles of it, and then different colors of it, and then you can go ahead and filter your data by selecting the choices that you wanted. See, I'm selecting only maths now. I'm selecting only Hindi now. So it will give you the trend. It will show you what is happening with all of that data. So that's how to put one on the other, we have something called stacked columns. And then the next one that we are going to talk about, the next data, the next chart that we are talking about, we'll select this data, we'll get into insert. In the insert, I'll go to my charts. In the charts, I'll go to all charts. The second one that we have looked at was stacked columns, and the third one that we look at is 100% stacked column. Once you select on this and click on OK, see all of them are given with percentages, which means my whichever person who have got the marks, all the marks are given in terms of percentages. So once you select on this is 70 marks, which is your percentage that is being calculated. Now all of them are considered as 100%, which means for 100 marks, what is his percentage? He have got 70%, he have got 80%, he have got 50%. So 50% block will be smaller and the 90% block will be higher. So which is calculated as a percentile model. So in the percentile model, we try to represent this as how much percentage of your entire value. Say by looking at this, entire value is nothing but your 350. So which is calculated as your 70 by 350 into 100. So once you just go ahead and calculate this as putting it as equal to and putting it as 70 by 350 into 100, see it is 20%. If you could look at my John value, that is 70, is available till exactly 20%. Now if you could look at your 80, so for 80 you will put it as 80 by 350 into 100. Now see it is somewhere 22.85. See it is 22.85. Say 20 से start हो रहा है. 20 से 22.85 is 42.85. So it is slightly greater than 40. So that's how your chart is calculated based on this percentage model. So how much percentage this will contribute? Considering this entire thing as 100%, what is the contribution of only English? If this entire thing is 350 is 100, then 70 will stand for how much percentage of it? So it will stand for a percentage of 20. So the 20 percentage is given here. That's how. Similarly for the next student. Next student, what will be the total score? It is 375. Now we'll calculate equal to 75 by 375 and it should be given with into 100. I will just go back. I forgot to put the code close here. So it will again 20%. See again you will have got it exactly at 20%. So that's how for every particular column that we have it is calculated as 100%. Out of that 100%, what is the value for me? What is the contribution for me that is being shown over here? I repeat everybody, whatever the kind of contribution that you have that is being listed out there. That is being listed out there which we can use it. So which is based on your percentile. So I'll just take this chart again and I'll just go with another chart. I'll select the data and then I'll go to my insert and then I'll just come back here, go to my all charts. In the all charts, after your 100% stacked column, now we'll look at 3D clustered column. Now once you select on this and click on OK, then you will be getting all the clustered things. As you have clustered column, the same kind of representation, but the difference is the representation will be 3D representation. It will be same as your column, clustered column, but the difference is you will have them as 3D columns. The only difference is you will have them as 3D columns and the remaining your chart elements, your styling and your filtering will remain the same. There is no much difference over here. Similarly, I'll select the data and go to the next option in the columns. I'll go to my all charts and in the all charts, I'll go to something called 3D stacked column. As we have the stacked column, the same thing will be in the 3D. Once you select and click on OK, then you see the same thing will be in the 3D format. Whatever your stacked column that you have it, the same thing will be there in your 3D view. And similarly, you can apply styles, you can change colors, you can do all of these things, right? Similarly, I now just go back here, delete on this, and I'll just go back to the chart again. I'll just go to the insert, select on the chart. Now I'll go to all charts. In the all charts, see after your 3D stacked, you have 100% 3D stacked, which is also exactly like your 100% stacked column, but which will be in the 3D version. And the next one, that is your 3D column specific. Once you select on this and click on OK, see you represent everything. The entire data is represented in your 3D way. So whatever the columns that you have it in your clustered, you represent with respect to their heights in the 3D representation. Say whatever the individual columns, say I will just go ahead and show you only one student details. I will go ahead and select I will have all subjects, but for I will have only John marks. Then you see, you will now understand. So this is how I will put my 3D chart. 3D chart is something which is representing the 3D view of all the individual columns. All the individual columns, instead of having it as cluster, you have them as individual columns, which is being shown over here like this, which is your 3D column. Now the same data, when I wanted to use it for another kind of a chart, I'll just come back here, go to all charts, and then I will now go to my lines. In the lines, you have again multiple kinds of charts that are available. As you have it for your as you have it for your columns, similarly you have it for your lines. Now once I select on the first option and click on OK, see, I have got all the marks of my students. See, I have got my marks of the students, that is John, which is 17 score with respect to English. See, English is now there in blue color. So this is my English. And whichever is low, that is 50, which is my science. See, science is seen in your yellow color. So which is my lowest mark. At every point, at the point where you have John, at the point where you have John 3. So that's how you represent your values. Say I want only two values. I will take up only two or three values. Then we'll understand it more clearly. So I will remove everything. I'll put it John 1, John 5, and then John 10. And then I'll call it as apply. Then you see, you have only the graph representation of these lines for your John 1, John 5 and John 10. See, for John 1, what is the score that you have it? Once you go there, you will have the score representation of it. Say it is 90 in your social. See, in social you have got your 90 representation, which is on top. Similarly, you have got your Hindi, which is the representation which is being shown. Similarly, you have got the other values, that is your 70 and then your 60 and then your 50 and so on. So all the representations of all the subjects are shown like this over here. So this is how you work with something called your line chart. And the similar things like styling, your color, your different items will remain the same. But in addition to that, you have got something called, apart from these labels, you have got something called your up down bars. So whatever the lowest and the highest values that you have it, that can be placed over here. See, up and down bars. See, you have an up bar being shown and the down bar is also being shown. See, you have got your up and down bars which are showing in white and gray color over here. This is how we have got your representation of your bars which are there on the up and down for the values that we are representing it as lines over here, right? So this is how we work with line charts. Now similarly, I'll just again select the data and look for all the different options that we have it with line charts. So once we go to the charts, and in the all charts, you will have line, and in the line C, you have got the stacked line. So which will give you a stacked line representation. Once you select on this and click on OK, see, you have a stacked line. You have a representation separately kept for all of them. Say once you just go ahead and look at it. So this is how it is increasing. Say it is considering this as the baseline. So it is giving me this value, that is social, as the base value. For the social value, John, if at all you look at John 1, if at all you look at John 1 has social marks as the first marks as 90. And then if at all you look at the next student marks, then you have got it 95, which is increased. And again it got decreased to 65. So that's how it is increased or decreased based on the values. So a separate graph for all of them are given with respect to the calculation. Say 0 to 100 is calculated with one graph, and 100 to 200 is calculated with the second one. So that's how the calculations are kept, or the graph is kept with a separate stacked lines. That is, each one of them are stacked one onto the other. So that's how you can use your stacked line. And after that, you have got the next item into your lines, which is nothing but talking about something called all charts. And in line, you have got your line where which is talking about your 100% stacked, which will give you the lines which are stacked with 100%. See, the 100% stacked lines are shown here. And similarly, you can just go back and insert your lines, that is all charts, and then align. Then see, you have got your line with markers. Where you have got your line with markers, you get markers for every particular individual student. Say for John 1 you have marked, John 2, John 3. For every student the markers are kept, so that you exactly understand how the difference is being reflected. Similarly, once you wanted to insert your marked line with an option, that is having your stacked, is also shown here. And apart from that, if you could look at, there is something called 3D line. Once you select on the 3D line, then see, this is how your 3D graph is there, how it is increasing, how it is decreasing. You have a 3D view of your entire data. So the data is represented with the help of your 3D view. Now we'll try to go ahead and insert your another item, that is your pie chart, which is commonly used. So in the pie chart you have multiple options like pie, your 3D pie, and then pie of pie, and then you have bar of pie, and then you have donut. So you have a different representation for your data with the help of this. Now we'll pick up our pie chart. Once we pick up our pie chart and click on OK, then you see your marks for all of your students. Now the entire thing is considered as your 360. Now when it is considered as 360, who have got more marks is shown with more percentage. See, this person is getting 13%, and this guy who have got your 12%, and this guy who have got 10%, this guy who have got 11%, so on and so forth. You've got the representations of it, the total marks representation in your English. Now this is with respect to English. Now if you want it for other subject, say I don't want it for English, I want it for Hindi, then you can apply it for Hindi. So all the marks of the students for each of the subjects, say I want it for Hindi, English, social, then I can create a separate graph for all of it. Once you click on apply, then this is how you have got your score for your marks for your math. So the pie chart is represented with multiple styles again. Now once you just go back and click on it, it will give you the percentage of your math with respect to its style also. So considering the entire thing as 100%, what is the contribution of each of them is also shown here. So whenever we use pie chart is whenever you wanted to do a comparison, then you do line chart, and then you do column chart. When you look at the comparison, so in terms of contributions, what is the contribution of each of them? When it is 100% as all of it, then what is your percentage of contribution? In those cases, we use something called pie charts. Now we use the same pie chart with a different example. I'll just go with pie chart. In the pie chart, I will now take up the example of your 3D pie, which will represent the same thing in the 3D view, which will represent the same thing in my 3D view. Now, if at all I would like to change my data, yes, I can change my subject and make it as social. So this is how I can give the 3D view of my data. And similarly, if you wanted the percentage of all of it, yes, you can get the percentage of all of it. This is how you can have your 3D data that is being reflected. Now the same thing can also be represented with pi of pi, or your portion of your pi. In order to get it, by going to your charts and then finding it as all charts in the pi, see, I'm getting it as pi of pi. And once I click on OK, then see, this is how it is giving me the representation of all of it. Now this is my English subject. Now for the English, see, this is how I've got the contribution from all of them. Got it? So this is how the percentage is being calculated. You have got all of their percentages that are being shown over here for the English marks. Similarly, I'll just go back and put it as social and put it as apply. Then you see the entire data gets changed and the entire representation of the chart gets changed. This is how you can work with your charts, that is your pie charts, by putting it as pi of pi. When you wanted to represent a portion of the data in explanation in contrast to the other data, then we can prefer to use something called your pi of pi. Say for example, in this case, it is giving me the percentage of it. The percentage of the contribution is being shown over here. Now I'll just delete this. I will now try to insert another chart. I will now just go to my pie chart. In the pie chart itself, I will now go here and look at my bar of pi. Once I select on this, then you get the same thing. Pi of pi is represented with pi of bar. That's the only difference. So you have got pi and of pi you used to have it. Now that pi is replaced with a representation called bar. That's the only difference that you have it. And apart from that, once I get into my insert and create chart, in the create chart, you have got in the pie chart, you have got the donut as an option, which will talk about all my values, how my values are changing. See what the blue values are talking about your John data. So that's how all of his subject marks, all of their subject marks are shown. See, the outer layer is talking about one of it. The inner layer is talking about one of it. So the outer layer, if you could look at, is talking about one of the subjects. Similarly, the very inner layer is talking about a different subject, which is talking about your English. So on and so forth, each of the layers are talking about one or the other subjects that we are having it in the table. ये हर एक टेबल का डेटा बताएगा. Say once we select on this data, then see it is talking about the inner data, that is your English, and the outer data, which is talking about my outer data, which is my social. So that's how I can talk about the intermediate data rings also. So this is how I can select the data and look at how the representation is given to all of it. Now this is how you have got something called your pie chart. Similarly, I'll now just go back, select this data again, and I'll go to my insert, and in the insert I'll go to my chart, and in the chart I'll go to my charts where I have done with my pie chart. Now I will look at my bars. See, please be very sure that columns are nothing but which are in vertical, bars which are in your horizontal position. Now once you click on OK, then you see you have got a chart representation like this. You have got your horizontal values of it. So you've got the values representation like this. This is how you make your chart. Now once I just go to my bars, see the data can be updated. Say if at all I don't want all of these values, I want only my data, that is series 1, to be represented, then I can be shown with only series 1. If at all I want all of these series and I want it for only one student, then I can also do that. Once I click on apply, then see I am getting the value only for John. As we have the clustered columns, similarly we have got your bars here. Now the columns are vertical and your bars are your horizontal. There is no much difference beyond this. Once we just come back and look at your insert, in the insert, once you get into your bars, then see bars are given with your clustered bars, and then your stacked bars, then your 100% stacked bars, 3D clustered bars, 3D stacked bars, and your 100% 3D stacked bars. These are exactly like your column, but the difference is columns were all vertical and the bars are now horizontal. That's the only difference that we have it with respect to your representations that we have it, that is your column and your bar. इसमें ज़्यादा कुछ अंतर नहीं है. Then we will now look at area. Once we look at our area, then this is how it will try to fill the graph and give it to me. It is similar to your line graph, but in addition to that, it will fill the data, fill the graph with the data that is being populated. So in your line graph, it will only give the outline of it. But in your graph that we are using it now, which will fill the entire thing. So it will fill the entire line that we had it with respect to the axis. So I will just go ahead and delete this. And once you go to my insert, in the insert and in the charts, in all charts, you have got area which will fill my entire thing with respect to my axis. Now this is again as your area, and then you have stacked area, you have 100% stacked area, your 3D area, and your 3D stacked area, and then 100% 3D stacked area. So these are all now becoming common. That is your actual graph, your stacked graph, and then your 100% stacked. Your graph, your stacked graph, and then 100% stacked graph. And again, all of them are implemented in your 3D also. So which is your clustered graphs, that is clustered 3D graphs, and then your stacked 3D graphs, and then 100% stacked 3D graphs. That's how you have the graphical representation. Similarly, we have got now XY scatter. So once you click on OK, then you see the X and Y's are scattered. See, your yellow colored is your X, which is talking about your values. Similarly, you have got your Y values, which are also given over here. So the X and Y common points, that is the intersection points, are calculated over here. It is not given like a line, it is not given like a field view, but the intersection of the axes are spotted. I repeat, the intersection of the X and Y axes are spotted, and the similar data is spotted in one color. Say, which means series 1 is colored with one option, and series 2 is colored with another option. So that's how multiple series are placed over here with multiple colors. So that's how you use something called your plot graphs. So once we just come back here, so this is how you've got your X and Y scattered plotting graphs. And then now we'll look at something called map. Once I select on map and click on OK, then it will now try to give me the graphical representation of it. But in this case, I haven't given any graphical representation because we were not talking about a particular region. We haven't talked about the students from which region. If we would have got the region, say one student is from India and one student is from Australia, one student is from South Africa, in that kind of cases, in those kind of examples, we use your map where you represent the data over a map. So here we don't have map charts comfortably using for this data because I'm not talking about a region. I'm not talking about a geographical location. So my data is not addressing on this issue. So I cannot use this map charts. I repeat, I'm not using this map charts because I'm not given with any of the locations, or geographical identification is not given over here. And then we will now just go ahead and look at insert charts. In the insert charts, I'll go to all charts, and after your map, we have got something called stock. Now it will give me a stock representation. That is what is high, what is low, and how it is closing. All that kind of a representation can be given. But see, all these are not preferable. See, once I just come back here, see, and try to click on OK. See, I'm not given with the stocks. So I don't have a stock value that is being represented. So once I look at the data, it is only talking about how it is increasing or decreasing, how it is being maintained. But we are not working on whatever we have it in your stocks. And if you could look at the stocks is talking about something very, very interesting, very, very latest, called your Sunburst Histogram, and all of this. We will talk about these things later. And once we look at this talk, which talks about the terminology, that terminology is very, very important, which we will talk about in your next class. How do we represent it and all of that. Just today we are looking at all the introductions. So this is how we use our chart, and after that we get into our surface. So on the surface, once you select on the data that we have it, then it will give you a 3D surface view. So how the data is being incremented, decremented, all that surface view is shown. Once you look at it, see the data is increasing or decreasing with this kind of proportionation. So all the value that I have inserted, that is working on this particular proportionation. So the data that I have is spread like this. Now once I just undo this and now try to go ahead and insert another option. Once I just come back here, put it as all charts. In the surface, you have got multiple options. We have got wireframe 3D surface. Once you select on it, you don't have a field view, but you have a wireframe view. So this is how you have got your field view and your wireframe view that you can get it in your option called your all charts and your surface. In the surface, you'll have your 3D surface, you'll have your wireframe, and then you have something like contour, and similarly you have your contour wireframe. So once we'll select on this and click on OK, this is how you have a contour for all of this. Similarly, for the same thing, you can also have your wireframe for this contour, which can be established by going to your insert and then you go to your all charts, and then on the surface you've got your contour with a wireframe. This is how you represent your wireframe with the help of your Excel data with the help of your charts. Now all the functionalities in the charts that I've shown till now, all the functionalities will remain more or less. So we will now look at this. We will select this data. We'll go to our insert. We'll just go to our all charts, and then we will now look at another type called your radar, which will give me the radar kind of a representation. So whatever we see, the radar kind of a signals kind of an option. So similarly, we will try to have it. Once you click on it, then you will have a radar view of it. Whatever the radar view that you have it, that will be shown like this. Similarly, the same radar view can be represented with multiple options that are there. Say once you go to your insert in the charts, in the radar options, you have got multiple options that are available. See, you have got radar with markers and your field radar. So which will give me only the marks, that is the connections, and similar as we have it in line with marked. Similarly, we have radar with marked. Similarly, we have got radar which is filled. So once you just go to your radar, which can have a filled radar. So whatever is maximum, that maximum portion would be obtained. So that's how you see your radar. So these are the different kinds of charts that we have been looking at. There are few more charts. We will look at those few more charts also. We understand the introduction of all of these charts today so that we can work with samples from tomorrow. I repeat everybody, we can work with the samples from tomorrow, but before that we will look at the remaining and we will understand more. Our Microsoft also says a lot of things about charts. We will also try to look at them. So now we'll take a short break, and after the break we'll continue with the remaining concepts on chart. I repeat everybody, we will now take a short break and after the break we'll connect. हम लोग एक छोटा सा ब्रेक ले लेते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद हम लोग कंटिन्यू करेंगे ऑन एंड ध्यान रख लीजिएगा कि आप अपने अपने कैजला ग्रुप में अटेंडेंस दे दें. Now in this break I would request everybody to give your attendance. I would request everybody to give your attendance. सबसे निवेदन है कि आप अपना अटेंडेंस अपने अपने कैजला ग्रुप में दे दें. So hope all of you have given your attendance. So we'll continue now. So before we get into the remaining things, we will now look at what Microsoft says about your charts. So we will now go ahead and talk about charts in Excel. We will talk about charts in Excel, and once we get into our Microsoft website directly, Microsoft. So now once we get into your Microsoft website, which is talking about your charts, so this is where we have got all of your charts that are getting created. Now, if you could look at these charts that we already have it, we'll talk about the kind of charts. Say, if you could look at the UI of it, this is talking about all the different columns, all the different lines that we have it. So whatever we have been discussing till now, अभी हम लोग जो discuss कर रहे हैं, like line graphs or line charts or pie charts, whatever we have been looking at it, those kind of things we have now been looking at, वही यहाँ पे दिखाई दे रहा है. So whatever we have been looking at till now, all of them are shown over here. To understand more about it, we will now just go ahead and put it Microsoft charts in Excel. Um, Office 365. Once we put it, then you have something called your available chart types in Office 365, which will give us a very fair understanding, very interesting understanding about all of your charts. Once you go to your column charts, then it will talk about what is your column chart, what is your 3D chart, and what kind of it. Say whatever I have been explaining till now, वो सब कुछ यहाँ पे detail explanation रहेगा. See, you have a very detailed explanation. अभी तक हम लोग जो भी देख रहे हैं, so whatever we have been seeing till now, we have got a proper explanation for all of that. See the donut charts and the bar charts, whatever we have been looking at till now, all of them are represented over here. Got it? You have a clear representation for all of them. Now, once we just go back and look at, see what does our concepts say about all of this? How do we create our chart from the beginning to the end? You have a complete series over here. Now we'll look at this with an example. How do we create it and how do we use it? Now there is an option. If you are using it on Apple computer, there is a different option. If you are using it on Windows, there is a different way of using it. So once I'm using it on Windows, once I click on open, this is how we have got the data that is available for us. So the data that is available for us in terms of a table that is created over here. Now the same thing can be used for creating your chart. Once I restart it, see, you'll have to click on insert and go to the recommended charts, whatever the charts that are available, and then you can pick up the chart that you would like and click on OK. Then see, once you wanted to place it at a position, then your graph is all set. Now what is the changes that you wanted to have? Say you wanted to have the design, the kind of options that can be kept over here. See, that's how you just go ahead and create your chart. So once you wanted to create your chart, आपको ज़्यादा कुछ करने का नहीं है, बस डेटा को सिलेक्ट करो जैसा हम लोग यहाँ पे बना रहे थे. So we will select on the data and then we will try to insert it. बस उतना ही करने का है. Similarly, now I have created my chart. Now I wanted to add or remove the titles on the chart. In order to add or remove the titles on the chart,
add a title to your chart to make it easier. Chart. Select the chart title box and type in a title. To change the title placement, select the plus sign, and then select the arrow next to Chart Title. Select Centered Overlay to have the title lay over the chart, or More Options. You can also right-click the chart title to format it. Select options like Fill and Outline to format your title. You can update a chart title by linking it to a worksheet cell. Select your chart title and add an equal sign to the formula bar. Select the worksheet cell you want to link any title changes to and press Enter. Any changes you make to the linked cell will now appear in your chart title.
So this is one of the common benefit that you get it. That is, once you have got the title for this, जब इसको आप merge करोगे, I will call it as student performance. Now whenever I create a new graph, I don't want to have a title always, which is being updated. So I want it automatically that is getting created. In that case, the student performance should be reflected on my graph immediately, for which I will link my cell over here with my existing data, that is my graph. I will link my Excel cell with my graph so that I can get this heading always, the table heading always being shown in my graph. That's how also I can do it with the help of my Excel. And similarly, now we'll just go ahead and look at the next option, that is showing or hiding the legends, which are nothing but the parameters that you are comparing. The parameters that you are comparing on the chart and the representations.
Show a legend to add more context to your chart data, or hide it to give it a clean look. Select a chart and select the plus sign. To display a legend, select Legend and select the arrow next to it. Choose where you want the legend to appear in your chart, and it'll get added. If you'd like to hide the legend, select it, press Delete, and it's hidden.
So it is, see, the operations on chart is very easy, but the only thing is you'll have to concentrate there. What is that you are doing it, and how you are doing it, how quickly you are doing it. That's all is your concern. Similarly, we look at the axis. I have talked to you on axis also. Let me see, or let us see what is that it is being shown here.
Secondary axis to your chart to show different values than the original axis. Select anywhere in a chart to open the Chart tools. Select Design, Change Chart Type. Select Combo, and then choose the Clustered column Line on Secondary Axis chart. If needed, select Secondary Axis for the data series you want to show, and select the arrow to choose Line, then select OK.
So this is of, you have got two things. You have got your bar and you have got your line, both of them represented on the same graph. So in order to represent both of them, you can have a secondary axis that is being created and that can be shown. This is what is trending that we have seen. So where you create a trend line to a chart, you can give a trend, how it is increasing, how it is decreasing. You can give a trend line. Just getting over there and clicking on selecting your trend line for whatever the fields. If in this case there is only one field, so you are selecting it. In our case, if you could look at, we have got multiple subjects. For English, you have got a different trend line. For Hindi, you have got a different trend line. So on and so forth. For every different item, you have got a different trend line that is being given, which is nothing but the average which is being calculated. Similarly, we'll now just go ahead and do an analysis of data instantly. multiple things and you quickly analyze. As I've told you, if science teacher wants, she only needs science data, but the principal, when he wants to compare the school performance for this year and for the next year, in that case he'll have to show about all the subjects. When he is talking about all the subjects, in that case he is supposed to go ahead and compare with all the subjects. So when he is comparing it with all the subjects, then he will have to show multiple axes and analyze the data and show them. In those kind of cases, we can do it instantly with the help of your charts. Now, in order to update the existing data that you have it in the chart, you can just go ahead and change your source.
If you need to change data in a chart, you can do it from its source. To create a chart from a table, select the cells you want to use. Then select Insert, Recommended Charts. Select the chart type you want and select OK. Your data table is now linked to this chart. So if you need to make any updates to it, just make the changes in the table, and the chart will automatically update to reflect your new data.
So this is how you get updated. Your chart can be updated with the data. Once the data is getting updated, the chart gets updated. Similarly, you have got your sparklines, which we have seen long back, how to have a trend for a particular column or a particular record. So it will give you a short graph about Asia for all the quarters. You just go back and insert something called lines, that is in sparklines. Once what is the data range that you wanted to select it and click on OK, then the sparklines were created. So this we have seen when we were managing your data itself. So we were not doing it now, but we have been doing them while we were working with the creation of something called data cells and ranges. When we were working with data cells and ranges itself, we have learned about sparklines, how to create sparklines and how to manage sparklines. We have been looking at all of them and how many kinds of sparklines were also introduced. All that we have learned when we were working with something called your data cells and ranges. Now if you could go back and look at, so this particular Excel data that I have got it, now in order to ensure that this data is given with a proper representation with other charts, we will now just go ahead and look at the other charts also. In all charts, after that we have got this sunburst histogram, which are very aggressively being used now, where which are basically charts which are typical than the other charts. Once you click on sunburst and click on OK, then you see you get a representation. Now this is considered like, each of them are considered like a group, and again in the group, if you have group members, then the group members performance can also be given. So it is something like yellow with multiple blocks inside it, say green with multiple blocks inside it. So that's how a groups can be done, even a groups can be given in your something called sunburst. So this is now shown as a single item. John 6 is given as single item. Now if the John 6 is a group and John 6 has sub members in it, then that sub members can also be represented in your sunburst. So that's how the individual performance. Say if there is a very big company and the company has managers who are handling a team, and again this manager has some team members inside them. Now if the organization owner want to look at the performance of everybody in the organization, then he can get a sunburst chart. Now the sunburst chart will have all the different departments as a core circle like this, and again within that you will have team member 1, team member 2, team member 3, and their performance will also be given like this. In circles you will have the representation of it. So that's how we have got your sunburst. Similarly, I wanted to take this off and wanted to insert another option. I'll just go to my charts, go to all charts, and then there is something called histogram. Now there is always a confusion that you have it between your histogram and your column. Once you click on OK, then you see the data is shown like a histogram and then it is shown as a column. Now we'll just go ahead and look at difference between a column chart and a histogram. See the column chart, the difference between a column chart and a histogram. If you could look at, it is based on the column represents based on the continuous groups, whereas histogram will talk about a category. If you could look at, there is a difference between your bar charts and your column charts and then your histograms. Bar charts are nothing but your horizontal and your column charts are your vertical, and histograms are nothing but groups. Histogram is talking about a set. Histogram is talking about a column specification. It is talking about a group together, but my column will talk about an individual thing. When I'm talking about an individual thing, then you'll have an individual representation. If you wanted a group representation, then most of the time we use something called histogram. Now the histogram is talking of multiple values. Say it is once you just select this, then it is talking about the value 2, that is nothing but your English, and then once you look at, it is talking about a value 8 of your English again. Once I just wanted to go ahead and edit on the changes, then I can have a labeling which is talking about only English as a subject. If you wanted to give more data, that is the data that you wanted to select on, you can just go ahead and select on, I wanted to have Hindi as a data. Once I click on OK, now it will give me as Hindi data. So on and so forth, all of them can be updated. Once you go to your data source, whatever you wanted to remove it, that can be removed. Now you have, see, you have got your Hindi data. So on and so forth, you have a column base, you have a group based representation. So now I will remove Hindi, you have maths, you remove science, then you have social. So that's how once you remove it, it is based on the category. Based on the category that you have it, it will give you based on the source. So based on the data source that you have it, it gets updated. Got it? So based on the values, it will give me, histogram will give me as a category or as a group. Now once I go to my all chats, in here I'll have something like your waterfall, which will talk about a chat which will give me a representation like a waterfall model. So how you represent all of your data. See John 1, what is his data? Say E with respect to your English, and then John 2 with respect to your English. Similarly, for all the values with respect to your English is being shown over here. With respect to the baseline value, how it is increasing. Now see, 70 marks is comparatively bigger, 35 is smaller. Similarly, 92 is much bigger. So it is trying to give you a waterfall model representation. How much more, how much less that you have it, it is being represented. Now this is how we work with all the charts. Hope so now you have understood the overview. What are the different charts that you have it, how do you use it, you have understood today. Today is only about the introduction, that there are some charts available, then how do we use it, that is what it is. In tomorrow's class we understand more about how to manage the data and how it is being reflected, how do you represent, how do you alter it, all that we will see it in your tomorrow's class. Today we have just got the introduction to charts. Tomorrow we'll try to manage, and I intentionally skipped this option, that is I'm not getting into these columns today, that is your combo today. Tomorrow we will look at all of this combo and we continue our discussion over there. We will continue our discussion from combo tomorrow, we'll understand more, right? So thank you so much all of you. Thanks for listening to me. So we'll connect tomorrow at the same time. And if you have any questions, please come back to us in your Kaizala group. And before that, we just look at this announcement. People who haven't completed their registration are requested to complete your registration from the link shown on my screen. अभी तक जितने लोग अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कंप्लीट नहीं किए हैं, वे अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन यहाँ पे स्क्रीन पे दिखाया गया लिंक यूज करके अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कंप्लीट करें. People who haven't completed the registration are requested to complete your registration from here. So thank you so much all of you. Thanks for listening to me. We'll again connect tomorrow at the same time to understand more about your charts. Thank you so much. We'll catch up tomorrow.